Right. Hello. Hello, classmates, friends, family, teachers, and guests. It is my immense honor to be here today on this incredibly happy, incredibly hot day. And I'd like to take a moment to thank a few people. First, the brilliant Solomon Tarlin for all those shout-outs. Thanks, man. Then my friends for forcing me to get off the internet every once in a while. It had to happen. My sister for keeping me grounded. She never fails. And, of course, my family and my parents for doing more than I could ever say. All right. When the graduation speech contest was announced during English, I'm pretty sure this was my thought process. Speech? Oh, that's nice. Maybe I'll do it. Probably not. I could really use a steak burrito right now. I'm sure a bunch of you probably thought the same thing, especially the burrito part. However, when the prompt quote landed on the table in front of me, I instantly knew that I had to write a speech. This was a quote that I needed to speak about and that I needed you all to hear. The passage, said by the one and only Oprah, is as follows. Every single thing that has ever happened in your life is preparing you for a moment that is yet to come. It's a great quote, and it is flat out wrong. Yes, you heard me. This quote is wrong, and you're probably wondering why, and although it would be pretty hilarious for me to come up here, drop that bomb, and then leave, I'm going to tell you why. High school is here to prepare us for the rest of our lives. There's no doubt about that. We study integrals and memorize body parts and listen to lectures about the state of the American economy so that we can apply these skills at some undetermined point later in life. We spend hours studying SAT vocab words like adumbrate, scurrilous, iconoclast, and legerdemain. These are words that would make us sound like fools if we ever tried to slip them into a real conversation. For instance, OMG girl, did you hear about that party? It was so scurrilous. Yeah, it doesn't quite work. Yet we study these words in the name of our future. We are afraid to waste the opportunities that have been given to us and scared that we might accidentally close doors in our future by not working hard enough now, which makes total sense. So, in the back of our minds, no matter what we're doing, there's this constant impetus to ensure that our futures are everything they ought to be. I know I'm not the only one who felt this way as I walked the halls of Sharon High, as almost every other conversation I overheard in the lunchroom this year was about plans for the future. The thing is that as long as the sun doesn't explode anytime soon, fingers crossed, there's always going to be a future to work towards. Once we get to college, we'll work our butts off to make sure we're happy in grad school, where we'll work even harder to make sure we're happy in our successful job, and the cycle will never end. When is it that we finally get to say, all right, self, the future's now. Now I get to appreciate my life. Now I get to finally slow down and breathe. Now I get to be happy. I'll tell you, there were actually points during this year when people would ask me, are you having an awesome senior year? And I'd reply, well, it's filled with lots of awesome things, I just don't have time to appreciate them because I still have to blah, 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 and I'd list any number of things from my to-do list. I was essentially saying, I don't have time to be happy. Or in the words of one of my favorite YouTube sensations, ain't nobody got time for that. But the wonderful thing is, we do got time for that. Our time on this earth is limited and valuable. If we spend each moment focusing on our life in the future, we'll forget that we are alive now. Every single day is filled with incredible moments, and what right do we have to take them for granted? For those of you who have seen someone you love pass away too soon, as I have, you know that the future isn't always guaranteed. My Aunt Michelle passed away this year at the age of 42. Think about that for a moment. She only lived roughly twice the amount of time that we have lived. Yet she did more living in those 42 years than any person I've ever met, because when you're dying, you can't afford to put off living until later. We honestly don't know what tomorrow is going to hold. So rather than trying to plan, predict, or perfect tomorrow, live every day like it's your last, because you never know, it really could be. Now I know it's all well and good to hypothesize and say, oh yeah, I'll live in the moment. But it's another thing to actually do it. So, this is my challenge to you. Erase the word later from your SAT-ready vocabulary and replace it with the word now. Don't let your life go by in a blur. Notice it. Enjoy it. Play a board game. Dance in the rain. Go to a concert. Spend a day at the beach doing nothing but listening to the sounds of the ocean. Try a new flavor of ice cream. Build a fort. Watch the snowfall. Do something that scares you. Play with chalk like you did when you were in elementary school. Remember how everything seemed happier when we were little? It's because kids don't worry about whether future employers will judge the quality of their chalk drawings. They just draw. Do things that have value not because they'll make you more successful or happy in the future, but because they'll make you happy now. I'm not saying we should spend all of our time frolicking in the breeze and painting pretty pictures, disregarding schoolwork and shirking responsibility. I can tell from my mom's face that probably wouldn't please our parents too much, and to be honest, it wouldn't serve us well in the long run. We're all bright people with bright futures ahead of us, and of course we should spend time and effort making sure that those futures stay bright. But sometimes, we Sharonites take it too far. We are very good at lots of things, including studying our butts off, joining more clubs than there are days in a week, and apparently, football. Something we're less good at is taking time off from thinking about the future to actually appreciate all of the wonder in our current lives. Now, some of you might call me an idealist or say I'm being overdramatic to emphasize my point, and that's probably true. If I had $1 for every cliche that I used in this speech, I could probably leave college debt-free. But please don't let my histrionics, #SAT word, overshadow a sound point. I don't expect anyone, including myself, to be present in the moment at every second of every day. All I'm asking is that you try and find a little more balance between planning for then and living for now. So, class of 2013, as you go off to college or South America or wherever it is your heart and wallet are taking you, remember this. Every single thing that has ever happened in your life is not preparing you for a moment that is yet to come. Rather, every single thing that has ever happened in your life is its own moment, which should be experienced wholly, enjoyed thoroughly, and lived to its fullest. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2013.